When I get that call and I tell him, I go, Logan, I get it, bro. And I fully told him, I go, listen, man, like, I will take half the deal that Celsius gives me. Half. If you want to put it on the table for my show, a quarter, work with me. He says, I won't pay you a dime. You're here because of me. And then I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Logan Paul called being a bad person. Wow, I would have never seen that coming. Yo, what's going on, guys? So the guy who used to host Impulsive with Logan Paul, not that one, the other one, George Janko, he recently had this podcast with Mike where he talks about the time that he had to walk away from Impulsive after Bobby Lee allegedly kept touching him where he didn't want to be touched, and Logan Paul was just being this, I can't cuss within the first minute, but he was just being a meanie weenie to his co-host George, and that's the reason why he walked away a few months ago, started his own podcast, and it's extremely successful. So he's doing great for himself after a lot of people thought, no, once you walk away from Mr. Logan Paul, you're never going to be successful. And he's proving the people wrong. I think it was a pretty messy situation that could have been avoided easily if Logan Paul wasn't, such a dick, such a douchebag.
There was certain. He is clocked out.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I know.
George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse.
No,
No, stop, George. I want you over here with me. George, I want you over here with me. Chase him down. Go. You find him. George, no, go get him. Go get him. I said.
And it just shows you how fake and slimy Logan Paul is.
I think that you're a street dude that came from selling drugs, and your one street mentality, like my cousins that do sling, is I have to protect myself first, and then I'll protect others.
But that's not. And this is where we probably have to get into the material. Yeah.
Okay, the Bobby Lee situation.
Who was the first person that jumped off the couch and said George just left? That was not good. We have to fix this situation.
But did they not cut shit that you should have stood up for me and said, hey, you can't cut that shit. That's gonna make him look like an idiot for leaving.
Okay, let's slow down, and I'll answer that. We have always cut things that we believe will protect the integrity or reputation of the guest.
That protected nobody but him.
No, of the guest. That's what I'm trying.
Well, what about the guy that you break bread with, bro?
But we removed a number of things that you said on the podcast.
Name one.
Well, no, I'm not going to.
Booty, bro.
No,
Once.
do you want me to?
There
was something that you said on the laser beam episode. You said something about like laughing at a girl getting hit in like a parking lot. You saw like a fight.
Yeah, I just said the joke wrong.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't sexually harass somebody, man.
I'm not trying to die one-to-one. I'm just saying
But it's one thing when you're a co-host of Impulsive. It was the three of them. It was George, it was Mike, and of course, the main guy, Logan Paul. So all of these three were working together. George was never a guest, and he got done dirty. And he says that he doesn't have a problem with Bobby Lee. It's just the way Logan Paul, or whoever's in charge of cutting the clip, you know how they made him look. It looks like, if you've seen the clips, and if you were there at the time, people were saying, oh, George is just a little bit, he couldn't handle the jokes. Bobby got to him. But it just sounds miserable to be around Logan Paul. I get it. You got to protect the guests. They're the reason why people click on the video. I completely get that, but you also have someone who you work with, and for Logan Paul to allow this situation to go down, I mean, that speaks volumes.
And then the whole world thinks that I walked away because I can't take a joke. That's fucked.
That's fucked. It parlayed into more stuff happening down the line. Like it just became, at that point, you saw me, I went on Bobby's show.
Yeah.
Right?
And they cut around it. You said that
I have no control over that. I didn't.
I try to make peace with this guy.
I know.
You've seen me.
Yeah.
I've tried to make peace with him behind closed doors. I try to reach out. I try to be cool. But by the way, and I'll just say this, we'll just empty it out. I never had a problem with Bobby Lee.
No, he knows that.
I had a problem with the way that Logan and you were kind of gassing him to keep doing. He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick.
I don't think...
How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick,
right,
talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living brakes off of this guy? Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impulsive anymore. How fucking crazy is that?
I don't think I understood. I can only speak for myself.
Bro, it's on a group chat.
I hope you can understand
it's on a group
that.
Chat.
No, I'm talking about during the episode. Because there was, I didn't know that you were feeling.
But after the episode, do you remember when you called me? And I said, Mike, this is all that happens. And you said, verbatim, you said, It's our fault for not telling you this, but me and Logan are really the ones who should be talking to the guest. You are really there for a boys only episode. So while I get sexually harassed, my other co-host is trying to fire me, and you're trying to leverage me to be quiet during other guests. And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
That sucks. And I am by no means a Mike fan. I think this guy's incredibly snaky and shady, and he will throw anyone under the bus to extend his career for a few weeks. I don't know what it is about Mike. I've always gotten a bad feeling about him. He just seems incredibly shady. And no, it's not because he used to be a drug dealer. That's not what this is about, okay? And I do feel for George, and I'm not saying George is an angel and he's innocent, but to film 3 episodes back to back to back on his birthday when he couldn't be there, when he, at least in my eyes, he was part of the show. I mean, you have him there, and I get he's not as important as Mike, but you had him there. And for this guy to not be able to speak about what happened because he was like, oh shit, if I talk, I'm gonna lose Logan Paul, and then what am I going to do? So it's a pretty ugly situation to be in. Once again, I'm glad his podcast took off. He doesn't need anyone, and I'm sure Logan Paul hates this. He's punching the air. He's like, wait, he survived without the great, humble, amazing WWE superstar Logan Paul? Now, Logan Paul is a pretty good wrestler, okay? I gotta give him that. He's extremely talented, but he's a shit person.
On my 30th birthday, you shot 3 episodes.
I
bro.
think
That's crazy. It was on the calendar for months.
I think by the time we got there was so much like confusion and disarray in the podcast that there was no coming back.
And this is just us just talking about. I'm not trying to be upset. I'm trying to work with you and like grow. But if I got a deal, because I started my podcast because I saw you guys.
Don't go there because you're gonna move on to a different topic. I want to button this one up.
No, it's the same thing.
No, I know, but just hold on. Whenever you called me with a problem with a hotel room, a problem with a flight, a problem with a coworker, a problem with Logan, a problem with anyone.
Yeah.
I always answered the phone.
Yeah.
I always talked to you. I always worked through it. I always called whoever the fuck was causing the problem and said, George has a problem with X, Y, and Z.
I never said you did.
I was there with you when we negotiated the deal for you to be a part of the podcast. I applauded it. I was always had your interest in mind. The reason I was hurt was because I was always the one that was there. I was always the one standing up for you.
The last straw for me was, Mike, I had to escape. I had to leave for my own fear. When Logan came after me for my religion, the show hit rock bottom and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month, and that's covering just Reed. I have a mortgage. I have my sister that works for me. I have Belle. I'm trying to get married. I had all these things. So I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show, and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
Well, at the time, you weren't making money. You made money on the show.
But at the time, we're a couple months.
How much money did you make over the course
I can show
of
you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
Right.
How is that even possible? How do you spend $10,000 on the show that's not even yours as a co-host? If someone could explain that to me in the comment section, I don't know, maybe my brain is just fried from streaming and uploading and recording so much material like a ninja out here, just being a one-man band. I hope they explain, because yeah, it's not good to spend 10 G's on this show that's not even yours. You don't own this. You're not invested in anything. You're just invested in Logan Paul, a multi-millionaire. The fear of losing your job is probably up there, maybe top 10 scariest things that could happen to you, especially when you're like 30 and you know you got wedding plans and you got a mortgage and all of this adult stuff. It's scary for you to be, you know, walking on eggshells because of Logan Paul and the way he treats you. And then not only the religious episode, but going back to the whole Bobby Lee situation, it's sad. I mean, the amount of anxiety this guy must have felt is crazy.
But when I got pushed out, and I'm seeing that I'm getting pushed out, and I start my own show, do you know what my final straw was?
What?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. And I'm saying, hey, man, you can't tell me what to do on my own show. That's not okay.
What's that about?
He told me that I couldn't take Celsius. And then I said, hey,
he
man.
didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius.
Messages.
No, he didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. All
right, yeah, this guy's the biggest dick rider of all time. And I thought I was a huge Eminem and Kanye dick rider, but holy shit, this guy takes it to a whole new level of D writing. We might have the D writing champion in the building right now. Does this surprise me that Logan Paul acts like this? No. I don't know him. I don't want to meet him, but I could see why people would be like, yeah, Logan Paul's kind of a control freak. It takes major balls to kick someone out and then record 3 episodes on his birthday. Let's not pretend like Mike is innocent here, okay? He did it as well. You know, Logan Paul's lapdog, and he does whatever Logan Paul wants.
That if you wait 6 months after the deal's done, you're more than welcome to rejoin the show if you need to make money.
But they're always trying to find a way to push me out.
I don't.
You know what he told me? When I told
think
you know what I
that
told
was-
hold on,
I
hold on.
think that was
this
a
is a guy
fair-
who's this is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making. Okay, and on top of that, we never got any money from Prime, and we own that show. So technically, we should have gotten a percentage of that. I never asked for it like the way you did. I stayed the fuck out of it. I didn't care.
$11 million per week Logan Paul was making. Holy shit. You gotta treat people with respect if they give you respect. And it seems like George was pretty respectful. If I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me on any of my claims. I feel bad for the guy. It sucks that he was treated like this.
When I get that call and I tell him, I go, Logan, I get it, bro. And I fully told him, I go, listen, man, like, I will take half the deal that Celsius gives me. Half. If you want to put it on the table for my show, a quarter, work with me. He says, I won't pay you a dime. You're here because of me. And then I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's fighting words, bro. Look at me.
Does anyone here need more proof that Logan Paul is such a douchebag? I believe him, all right? I don't need no proof. I believe George on this. This is probably the most humble Logan Paul moment. I'm actually kind of surprised Logan Paul has gone away with so many stuff. I'm not even talking about the Japan incident, but the fact that he still has gotten so many opportunities given and handed to this guy is crazy. We're making the wrong people famous. That's why we gotta make me famous. Cheap plug, but please subscribe. Let's get 1 million subscribers before the end of the year.
You don't bring up somebody's father.
Would you say
bro.
that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
What did I say? That I beat the fucking brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him.
But that's what I'm trying to say. We were at a point where no one was speaking properly to each other. And the only person, and George, and the only person probably that was the calmest out of the three, I sent you a very nice text message. Please.
Mike, you went to Celsius to try to get my deal. Called me right after you called them. You never called to check in on me.
Do you know?
You never called to see.
I texted you.
No, you didn't. It was after you went after the deal.
And by the way, I wasn't going after the deal.
You did.
I was going after the contract to bring to Logan and say, beat this with Prime, please. I was never going to take the Celsius deal.
Listen, you can't. Okay, so I have one friend telling
By the
me
way,
to go have my rich.
We're just having a conversation. The one thing I am a little bit upset about was the text that you sent back to me. That's it.
I told you you're a piece of shit. Everyone
Evil,
knows it.
yes.
You need to. But dude, I meant every word of it.
That's crazy.
No, I'm
That's
not.
crazy. That's
if you
insane.
fell out, if you
That's
fell
an
out,
insane
if
statement.
you fell out and you started doing scummy moves to your friend, I called you out on it.
But I
bro.
didn't do anything.
Bro, you
What did
never.
I- what did- what-
Not you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody fucking called me when I got fired. Not one person called me. You know what I get a call from? Logan saying, at least Mike wouldn't do this. And an hour later, calls me and they say, hey, he's trying to get this deal.
But you know why I was trying to get the deal.
I get it. It's money. But why
No,
wouldn't you?
no.
But
I was not taking the deal.
why wouldn't you call me and talk to me before you try to go dig
You
pockets?
didn't want to talk to me. You did not want to
You
talk to
never
me.
reached out.
I was talking to Division.
We never talked
I was
once.
talking to Division.
You never
I
reached
reached
out
out
to
to you.
me.
I definitely called you.
Never did.
I texted you. I have text messages that were not responded to. I definitely have text
After
messages.
I called you out.
I'm just saying I tried reaching out.
I just noticed it kind of feels like I'm in a therapy session and I'm just like, huh, yeah, he kind of makes sense. Oh yeah, he also makes a really good point. Oh yeah, Logan Paul is a piece of shit. Yeah, it makes sense now. Now, I don't think anyone would have been upset if George would have swinged at Logan Paul. I think it would have been 1,000% deserved. I do think Mike is one hell of a snake. I definitely do think he's Logan Paul's a lapdog, his little chihuahua, his little poodle, whatever you guys want to call him. Would I be surprised if it turns out that he tried to take away the contract? No, because all these people are leeches, and once someone's about to be eaten alive, the other one steps on them to get ahead. And I get it. It's for the bag. It's for the business. But if they were your real friends, you would have called them. You would have contacted them. By the way, if anyone at Celsius is watching this video, please sponsor me. I'm a fan.
The fact that you would stand up for me on camera and then as soon as it cuts, being like, I'm gonna look so good that I stood up for you. There was intentions behind it, bro. You never cared.
Oh, so you're now saying that a
I'm
joke.
not the only one who thought that.
You're saying now that a joke that I made, which we would always tie comedy in with real life, a joke that I made after standing up for you 1,000,000 times on 1,000,000 fucking episodes, now completely discounts all of the times I did
Do
it.
you think what I went through was fair?
I think it's complex. I think it's complex. I think,
That's
bro,
crazy, Mike. I wouldn't put my own enemies what I went through, bro.
I think I'm gonna be honest with you, or I'm gonna be honest with you. I think more than anything, it was a culture fit problem. I think there was a culture fit problem.
I think I brought a different type of look
I agree.
to the podcast.
I agree,
And
but-
if you go look at the greatest hits on Impulsive, they were all flooded with my comments. And don't think I didn't see you guys take my name out. And you guys shadow banned my name. Fans with screenshots, shots of them trying to talk about me, and you guys were banned my name.
Because we probably didn't want that conversation over fucking hauling the entirety of the show.
But also, it's like, bro, I walked away without saying a thing, and you guys were on the podcast saying this gets no views.
I said that?
When you guys talk together and you're clipped together, you guys, he's not talking to the wall, Mike. He's talking to you.
But
and you were like, and I know
I think
you
the
were
biggest, I think
The more this goes on, the more I hate Mike. Like, he always has something ready. Oh, no, but me? What? He always acts stupid. Or maybe he is legitimately stupid. But, bro, just be honest. Stop capping. Be real for once in your life. You guys screwed him over. You guys were preying on his downfall. I'm sure Logan Paul was laughing when the first episode and the second one came out and it wasn't doing too well in the third one. I'm sure they were all preying on George's downfall and hope that he never took off. I'm glad he's finally able to talk about this, come forward, expose Logan's phoniness, and even Mike.
to say that that the execution of your treatment on the show, outside of the show, whatever, was perfect would be the biggest overstatement of all time. There was a million things, George, that could have been done differently. The conversation about Jesus was horrible, managed terribly. I'm with you on that. Okay, and by the way, so is Logan. He would admit that if he could have that conversation again, it would go completely different. You know that, bro. He didn't go into that with some sort of intent to harm. He clearly got carried away, was not seeing your side of the discussion, and it turned into a clusterfuck.
I just don't. Not like I don't believe it, bro. It's just patterns. So you got to see the patterns. We'll use you as an example, bro. Like, I saw you go through hell over and over and over again. And guess what? It keeps happening. And it's the same thing that they put you through. I'm not going to mention what they put you through, but I watched and I would pull you aside and be like, bro, that's fucked. Like, you shouldn't be talked to like that or acted like that. So for you to sit there and be like, oh, I know what you're going through, and then try to make it seem like what I'm saying is a little bit more fabricated, I think that's going to come back at you when the day that you finally snap and you're like, all right, I'm done with this shit. And then you're going to see it for what it is.
This sounds like an extremely toxic work environment, but this sounds absolutely toxic and mentally draining. In 5 years, I want to see interviews about Mike and his time with Logan Paul. But now with that said, I think the video's long enough, guys. I'm glad George is doing well. With that said, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. We're trying to hit 500,000. And with that said, I'll see you next time, all right? Peace out.